everyone, I am the Dragon Skull, and welcome to part 2 of my Bristol Anime and Gaming Con on vlog. In part 1, I showed you the everything I've been doing throughout the con on both Saturday and Sunday, all the fun things I did. I left out the talk and everything Chaos Man related because I wanted to keep part 1 short. So in this video, you're going to be seeing all of the CrownRoot and Chaos Man related things. I'm going to keep this brief so that I can cut over to the talk I recorded. It was a really good talk, and it'll definitely help out any of you guys who have dreams of creating your own anime or comic series as well. The same way I wanted to. So their talk will definitely prove very useful to you, and if you want more information about CrownRoot, please be sure to join the Discord server that I will be linking in the description below, as well as the CrownRoot website where you can find many comics, including my own. Don't know when the Redux will be uploaded yet, but hopefully you'll get an answer soon. So, I will now cut over to Connor and Vin as they will be explaining you how to make your own anime / comics. Take it away, guys.
Hello. As you can see, there is paper being handed out. Pencils will come around soon enough. Welcome. My name is Connor Rawlings. I am with CrownRoot Publications. We are a media company based here in Bristol, only I'm from Wales. So, has anyone here seen one of our presentations before? We've done this a few times. You have. Cool. Nice. Another show of hands. I know you've seen it before. Another show of hands. Who draws? That's a good show of hands. That's a good show of hands. Cool. I like that. That's what we're going to be doing today. Welcome to How to Make Anime and Manga with CrownRoot. We're going to start off with a bit of an interactive part of the show. Let me know when you guys have pencils, because I can't expect you to draw without having any implements to draw with. So, while I ad-lib until you have the pencils, anyone seen our stall downstairs? I imagine you must have all walked past it. Got some new comics out, just finished our first arc, I'm pretty proud of it. Alex here has just put out his first redux of his comic, pretty proud of that. Come and check us out after the talk. We're down right by the signing desk. I can see the pencils are being handed out now, so that should just be about a minute until we can actually get started and get you guys interacting here. I want to ask another question. Who here draws original characters? That's another good show of hands. That's another good show of hands. We'll be doing that later on as well. Bit of a specialised thing. Okay. How's the pencils handing out going, Vin? Good? Good. Are we all enjoying ourselves today? Good. I do hope you're all here to see me and not the tombola. That's on later. Okay, now, I want another show of hands. Are you guys good for me to start with the tutorial? These people aren't, I guess these people are. I'll wait one more second for it. I'm liking a lot of the cosplays I'm seeing today. Obviously this is the first con we've been to since 2020 happened. So I'm liking all the creativity I'm seeing with all the costumes. I was wondering why I was seeing so much Danganronpa. I guess what was just on explains that. Where's Vin gone? He's gone somewhere. I've completely lost sight of my afro friend. Where has he gone? Okay, you know what? I've been rambling up here. Let's just get started. Okay, so how to make animated manga with CrownRoot. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, we're going to start this tutorial off now. If you can, I realise some people might not have the best of surfaces to draw on. Draw a circle. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle, doesn't have to be a dark circle. Make it light. You would rub this out later. I think the pencils have erasers on. Draw a light circle, the size at which you want your character's head to be. Maybe your character has a small pinhead, maybe they have a huge head. Depends on how big you draw this circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've all drawn a circle by now. Next, please. Bisect it. Cut it in half. This line is going to determine where your character's eyes and where your character's nose and mouth line up down the middle of the face. That shouldn't take very long. I'm sure you've all done that by now. Next slide. Next slide, please. Drop the line down a little bit below the circle. What this line is going to determine is the length of your character's chin. If you want them to look like a horse, draw the line down to about here or somewhere. If you want a more chibi, cute, childish-looking character, draw a stubby little line. They have rounder chins. They don't come down as much. It's all dependent on what you want your character to look like. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next one, please? Cheers. As you can see here, connect the bottom of the line you just dropped down back up to the circle you drew first. You can already see how it's starting to look like a chin. Something like a balloon. Has everyone managed that? Can I have a show of hands that we are good to carry on? That's enough hands, I like that. Next, please. Next, please. Cool. Bisect the circle again. It's going to look like a sniper scope. This will determine where your character's eyes line up. Again, another simple thing. It's not going to take you very long. So we'll go on to the next one. This step is optional. Don't always have to do it. These two lines here, they are going to determine the width of your character's neck. So, if you want them to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, draw them way out to the side. If you want them to look like a giraffe, just draw them nice and skinny in the middle. Now, you might be wondering, why are these lines halfway up the middle of the face? The neck connects to the bottom of the head. Well, you're right, it does, but it doesn't connect to the bottom of the chin. It connects halfway up the back of the skull. That's why the lines are up in the middle of the face. Can we go to the next one, please? Okay, now this might be a bit difficult to see, but here is where we define the shape of the face, and it's where things start to get a little bit more complicated, because we've got some weird, wavy lines going on. As you can see, they go around the top of the scalp, loosely following the circle we drew first, and then the lines curve in on the side of the face. Now, what is this? This represents the pit in which the eyeballs will sit, where the face sinks in. That's a little bit more of a complicated one. I don't want to rush you, but I'm giving you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hopefully we've all done that by now. Yep, show of hands, have we done that? These people have, these people have. Good. Next slide, please. The eyes, the eyes, the eyes. The eyes are one of the most important part of your character's face. There are so many different ways you can draw their eyes. You can draw them big and cutesy, like here. You can draw them small and like a dot, like a little fly. You can give them no eyes, like those weird monsters from Doctor Who. You can give them bug eyes. However you want your character to act. Look. The important thing to know is the eyes sit below the horizontal line you drew across the circle about 4 minutes ago. I won't dictate the style you want to draw, but I will give you 5 seconds to draw them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are we all eyed up? Eye? Who said eye? Yes, that's a good joke. I like that. Cool. Hopefully you all have your eyes in place. Next slide, please. Again, a little bit difficult to see. We're going to put in our character's nose. Again, there's lots of different types of noses you can draw. You can draw big, stonking noses out here, or little tiny petite noses. Sometimes, might not even draw a nose at all. I've seen plenty of styles with no noses. Really helps accentuate a cuteness in a character if you don't draw a nose. Likewise, nostrils. I see a lot. It's very rare for like cutesy anime girl characters to actually have nostrils. It's one of those weird defining things that just doesn't look right all the time. Of course you can, it's your style. However you want to do it. Here, I've just drawn what looks kind of like a tick mark with a little dash next to it to represent the nose. The important thing is it falls on the vertical line you drew earlier, roughly halfway to a quarter-ish way between the eyes and the bottom of the chin you drew earlier. Again, it's dependent on whichever style you want to draw. Next, please. And the mouth. This is obviously dependent on the emotion you want your character to portray. Do you want them to be angry and gritting their teeth? Do you want them to have a big, sinister smile, like they're some evil serial killer? Do you want them to just have a small, little smile here? Now, you may be wondering, why is there a gap in the middle of the smile? Now, what I've done here is it represents the tiny bit of your top lip that drops down over the bottom lip. It's probably got a scientific name. I don't know what it is. It's the droppy down bit on the top of your lip. Next, please. Ears. 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 Such a weird thing, ears. They look, well, weird. Story. When I first started drawing characters, I didn't give them ears. And I see a lot of people do that. Anyone in here who draws, do you always put ears on your characters? Do you find them weird to draw? I can see someone shaking their head there. They're such a weird thing, aren't they? They just stick out and they're huge like mine. The important thing to remember though, is it goes. The top of the ear roughly lines up with the eye line. And the bottom of the ear roughly lines up with the bottom of the nose. That doesn't always have to be the case. Maybe your character is Dumbo. But that's roughly the rule that applies to ears. Are we all following along? Is there any questions so far? I'm not seeing any hands, so I assume everyone is following along fine. Cool. Next slide, please. The neck. Here's where we add in the neck that we were talking about earlier. The way I have drawn the neck, you draw 2 lines coming down horizontally, lining up with the dash marks we drew earlier. These represent this muscle in your neck here. Again, it's probably got some scientific name. I don't know what it is. And then you add the curving lines, which come down, which represent this muscle, which connects to the shoulders. This is obviously a female character, the neck's more slender, and it curves into the shoulders more. A more male character, where these lines curve like this, would curve like this. Are we good? Anyone still not got a pencil who wants to follow along? Hopefully you can catch up. I've tried to make this pretty simple. Vin, we've got someone here at the front as well. I'll just wait for this person to get her pencils. Cool. Nice. Rightio. Hopefully these people can catch up just fine. We are going to go to the next slide, please. Cheers. Here's where we would erase the guidelines we drew earlier. I don't quite know how well you're going to be able to manage that. Are these people with their hands up for pencils, or do you have questions? I think we've still got some people wanting. Is that for a pencil? Yeah? Vin, we've got pencil down here, please. I'm sure I'll be with you in a minute. Here's where we would erase the guidelines. I don't know how well you'll be able to do this with the erasers on the pencils that I gave out. Hopefully you can manage that. But as you can see, erasing them immediately brings the design together. Next, please. Again, this is more of an optional step. It's not necessarily something you have to add. The little lines above the eyes represent the upper eyelids in a resting position. You know, like my eyes here, you can see little folds of skin above the eyes. You don't necessarily have to add them. It's a level of detail that could work. Can I now just do another double check? Has everyone got pencils who wants to draw? I'm not seeing any more hands, so I think... Oh, no, I've got one. Next to you. Cool. Right. While I let... Is that for another pencil? Vin, we've got one more over here, please. Where's he gone? I don't know where he's gone. I'm sure I'll be with you in a minute. While I let people who have just got pencils catch up, are there any questions so far? I've not got there yet. They'll be there in a minute. The little black bits above, they are little folds of skin that sit above the eyes, representing the upper eyelids. Yeah?
They're big, black, curvy, like eyebrows.
You mean these bits? There?
Yep.
Upper eyelids. It's not necessarily a detail you have to add, more of an optional feature, something I like to add to my characters, but we'll get to the eyebrows. It might be next, I'm not sure, it's somewhere. Vin, I think we've got one more person for a pencil here. Yep. Who was waiting for the pencil here? Was it you? Yep. Here we go, Vin. Cool. And over there. Are there any more questions while I wait for people to catch up? Anything at all? I'll take that as a no. Okay, can we go next, please? Oh, there they are, the eyebrows. The eyebrows go about halfway between the top of the eyes and the top of the scalp. Again, loads of different styles you could draw, from the little pointy things like that. You could draw a big monobrow going over the top of the forehead. Draw little dashes, or like, you know, those people who paint their eyebrows on in real life. I don't know how you could do that, but I'm sure someone could manage it. Big bushy eyebrows, great big bushy eyebrows. However you want to draw it. The important thing, as I said, in a resting position, they go halfway between the top of the eyes and the top of the scalp. Next, please. Hair. Hair. Like most things that I've talked about while I'm up here, it's dependent on the style you want to draw. Now, obviously, I look around the room, I don't see a hairstyle that looks the same. I see people wearing fake hair. I see people with real hair. I see people with no hair. Loads and loads of different styles. One important thing to try and remember, although this isn't always true, as Vin will demonstrate, who has an afro, hair tends to grow from a focal point on the head. So say, as I look around, this fake wig here is, all the hair is flowing from one point on the top of the head here. I see the woman over there, your hair flows from a point on the head around there. This person's hair flows from a point around there. So as you can see here, all of the hair flows up to a point way higher than I can possibly jump. up to about there on the scalp. I'm sure you can all see where I'm pointing it. All the hair tends to flow from there. Now, of course, if you've got a bald character or a character with a much different hairstyle, that's not really going to matter as much. But I am going to give you a bit more time to try and be creative with the character's hairstyles you're drawing here. Obviously, we've got more of an OC thing coming later, but I just want to see what you can do. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cool. Hopefully we have all drawn hair by now. Can we go next, please? Cool. Again, for those who wasn't watching the slide, I've erased the scalp line below the hair. You can no longer see the top of the head, it is only where the hair goes. Optional things here. You could hide your eyes behind the hair. Obviously that's a more realistic thing, light doesn't pass through solid objects. Same thing with the eyebrows. I like to draw my character's eyebrows visible through whatever hair they have. Realistically, that doesn't make sense. The hair's in the way. But seeing as this is a visual medium, where the eyebrows are one of the most expressive parts of the face, I find it very important to make sure that they are almost always visible, unless they're wearing a mask or something like that. Can we go next, please? Can we go next, please? Cool. And colouring. Obviously, you guys can't do that, but that would be, if you want it to be, the final stage of whichever it is you're doing, however you want to do that. Be it digitally, be it coloured pencils, however you want to colour your picture, or leave it black and white, you can do that. Don't let me tell you what to do. Okay. Nice. Are there any questions about drawing a face from the front? Anything at all? I can see a person back there in a Madoka Magica shirt and I love it. Any questions? Is that a question there? What is your question? Rightio. The question, for those who couldn't hear it, how do you treat light and shadow when doing it from the front? What I like to do is imagine an imaginary, because I'm imagining it, light bulb. For example, on this character, where is the imaginary light bulb? It's down here somewhere. It's casting light up onto the face. It's illuminating this side of the cheek and casting this side of the face into shadow. Say your imaginary light bulb was up here somewhere. It would be illuminating that top of the hair and casting this side and this side of the body into shadow more. Just imagine where the light source in the scene that you're creating is, and then extrapolate from there. Obviously it gets a bit more complicated if your scene has multiple light sources, but the best way to work there is what is the most dominant light source in the scene, basically. Is there any other questions?
What about glasses? How do you draw glasses?
That's a fantastic question, because let me tell you what I hate drawing. Glasses. I hate drawing glasses. They're so weird. Look at us freaks who have to wear glasses.
It's annoying.
It's trial and error. Basically, you don't want to block your character's eyes. They're a really important, really expressive bit of your face. Unfortunately, the very nature of glasses tends to do that. One trick I have found, however, is to kind of break the rules. The arms of glasses, don't draw them. Just draw the frame and the lenses. Anime faces are way bigger than real human faces. It looks really strange when you've got a gigantic pair of glasses stretching all the way across the face, and then you have to somehow work out the way that the arms attach and hook over the ears. It's really weird. So the trick that I tend to use, don't draw don't draw the glasses arms, just draw the frames, whatever style you want to draw them like that. Of course, if you do want to draw the arms, go right ahead. That's just the trick that I like to use. That help you there? Good. Any other questions before I move on to the next part? Was that a question or was that you stretching? I think that was you stretching. Are we good for me to move on?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, cool. Next slide, please. Okay, this one's a bit of an older one, but bear with me. We are now going to draw a face from the side, which is improv. We start the exact same way as we did last time. Hopefully you've all got room left on your paper. Just draw a circle. You've got 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Next slide, please. Wow, it's almost like we've done this before. Cut your circle in half. It's like a pizza. Next, please. Next, please. Okay, now things start to deviate. Now we get a bit more complicated. Whereas before we dropped a line down here, now we are dropping a curving line down here. As you can probably guess, this character is looking towards that side of the room. Of course, the length you draw that line determines the length of your character's chin. Once again, you sort of end up with a funny looking Q. Capital Q. Next, please. Cut it in half. Should be becoming routine by now. We just keep cutting circles in half. Next, please. Same thing, we're going to put the lines that determine where the neck goes. Don't know why I was just turning into Severus Snape, that was a bit weird. Next lines, please. Now we get really complicated. This is a style I like to refer to as battleship face. Why? Because my characters, when they look to the side, tend to look like the bow of a battleship. You know, the curving bow of the front of the ship. Looks really weird, but it's the style that I like to go with. So, what we're going to draw is a curving line that comes down from the horizontal line we drew. It comes out right to the front of the face and then curves back down. These 2 bits here, you can probably guess, are representing lips. You don't have to add lips. A lot of designs on anime characters I see don't even have lips. It's another one of those things you can do if that's the style you want to do. Because that line's so complicated, I'm going to give you a few seconds to do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Are we all following along? I'll take that as a yes. Next, please. Nice. We're going to curve the line up from the bottom of the chin we just draw, and don't fall over, connecting up to the vertical line we drew before. This line is representing your jawline. Your jawline. Obviously, if you're drawing a more masculine character, a big butch guy, this jawline is going to be angular and like a rectangle, a square. A more feminine, childlike, cutesy character, smoother, curving, more round. Next, please. The back of the head. Curve the scalp up along the circle we drew before. But when you get to the horizontal line we drew earlier, we don't follow it all the way around. That's because the back of your head doesn't curve all the way around. It sort of slopes into the back of your neck. Slopes inwards, like that. And curves down to line up with the vertical line we drew earlier. Next, please. And we're connecting up the front of the neck we drew, lining up with the vertical ticks we drew before. Again, this line in the middle is relating to this muscle here. I need to learn my anatomy and find out what these muscles are called. Are we all following good? Any questions on this part so far? I'm not seeing any, so we'll go to the next, please. The eyes. As I say, this one's a bit older than the tutorial we did before. Please excuse that. But the eyes, they get a bit weird when you're drawing them from the side. They get squished. They become flatter. Human faces, eyes face forward. It's the same way a predator's eyes face. So when you view them from the side, they become more triangular. And while you wouldn't really describe this as a triangle, you can sort of see that whole feature going on. Again, this is dependent on the style of eye you want to draw. It could be very narrow, it could be very big, however you want to do it. I'll give you a few seconds to draw whichever style of eye you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we'll go to the next one, please. Did that go to the next one? Yep, please. Okay, I've added in a little nostril there. You don't necessarily have to do that. It's up to your style, however you want to do. But we'll go next, please. And the mouth. Same thing as before, where we have added a gap between the front of the lips and the rest of the mouth to determine the top of the lip that is folding over and covering a little part of the bottom lip. Again, however you want your character's emotional to be. Big smile, small smile. Maybe they've got their mouth wide open. Maybe they don't even have a mouth. That would be crazy. Next, please. Ears. As I said before, ears go and line up with the side of the eye to the bottom of the nose. How do you draw an ear from the side? Well, I like to start something of a semicircle and draw a weird W in the middle. Lines up with like this bit of the ear. Can we go next, please? Can we go next, please? Next, please. Eyebrows. You can tell this one's older because I didn't put in the top bit on the eyes. Eyebrows, halfway between the top of the eye, halfway between the top of the scalp. Next, please. Next, please. Cheers.
Take a drink and
Eraser
next,
guidelines. How are the erasers going? Can I get a show of hands? Are they working all right? Yeah, they're working good? Oh, that's good. That's good. I'll give you a few seconds to try and erase those guidelines. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hope I'm not making anyone anxious by the fact sometimes I count from 1 and sometimes I count from 5. Next, please. Hair. Add in the hair. Same way we did last time. Also, as an added bonus, I've erased the scalp on this one. Question, who's drawing the same character for both sides of the face? Nice. Very nice. I'll give you a few seconds to draw that hair in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, please. Okay. That is the end of that drawing tutorial. Are there any questions around the side of the face or questions from the first one? Anything at all? Any questions? No? Rightio. Well, that went pretty well. I had a good amount of people drawing there. I can see people fanning themselves. It is really hot, isn't it? It's ridiculously hot. Okay. Did we have fun drawing?
Yep.
Good. That's what I like to see. Next question from me. Who writes? I can see hands. I know you write. You've written a lot.
Yep.
Cool. That was a good number of hands. Nice. So, you've got your character. Now you want to write. The first and most important thing. Actually write it. Get it down somewhere. Put it in a book. Type it up on a laptop. Carve it into a tree. I don't care what it takes. Write your idea down. Otherwise, 1, you'll forget it, or 2, you'll get a cracking headache and it won't be very fun at all. Write it down. Do you know we've had people come to us with ideas in their head for years, I don't remember the exact number of years. It was a lot of years, wasn't it? Was it 9 years? 9 years with an idea in their head that they didn't get down. They just kept it in their head. I don't know how their brain didn't explode. It would be ridiculous. Please write your stuff down. It won't hurt anyone. Next slide, please. Your characters. We just designed them. We've got a Digimon up here. No, please don't count me. Please. Your characters. We just did the visual design. But now we need to determine who is your character. Why is Gamora? Why? Is your character real? Are you writing a story about Teddy Roosevelt? Are you writing a story about Winston Churchill? Is your character fake? Are you writing a story with an OC? Are you writing a story with Gandalf the Grey? You need to determine who your character is, what their wants and motivations are, their desires, their fears, what they want to achieve in life, their generic personality, what makes them tick, the relationships they have with characters around them, or the relationships they want to have with characters around them. Why they're doing what they're doing. Say you've got a character who wants to destroy the evil Dark Lord. Why do they want to do that? What did the Dark Lord do to them that makes them want to destroy this Dark Lord? Or maybe they want to join the Dark Lord. Could go and join Voldemort. Why not? What has happened in their life to lead them to the choices they've made to make them the character that they are? We all good there? Who has a character like that? Who has a really nice, in-depth character? You do. You do. You do. I know you do. You do. I like that. I was worried I'd get no hands and just find like a bunch of people with like dittos or something. Next, please. Okay. Your narrative. Your narrative. What is your story? You've determined who your character is. And of course, determining your character's goals will have fallen under the narrative banner already. But you need to know the way your story is going to go. Is your story going to have a traditional act structure, a beginning, middle, end? And of course, the way we always use it is there's multiples to them. There's a beginning, middle, end, to the beginning, middle, end, to the beginning, middle, end. And they all flow into one another. What's going on in your narrative? Why is it happening? Why is Thanos trying to get the Infinity Stones? I know. If I didn't know anything about the narrative, though, I might not. How's he trying to do it? And he's doing it because that's up for you to decide as you write your narrative. As it twists and turns, as it comes out of your brain and hopefully gets written down somewhere so you don't explode. Can we go next, please? Okay. Now, for those of you who do art, now comes, that is awesome. I love that. That's amazing. For those of you who do art, now comes the penultimate stage. You've got your ideas, you've got your characters, you've written it all down. Now you're going to do the design. Obviously, we've kind of done things the other way around. We started with the design. But now we're going to get and do it. What is your art style? Are you trying to draw in an anime-ish style? Are you more Western, trying to emulate stuff like Marvel? Are you working in 3D animation? Are you doing claymation? Why not? You can do claymation. This is Bristol, Aardman's from here. Go do claymation. I want to see more claymation. This picture here, this is of one of my characters. Her name's Aiko. She was one of the earliest characters I drew, and she's still one of my favourites. In fact, I think she's most people's favourite. Now, who in here draws, but traces from other places? Don't feel ashamed. Every single artist does it. I started that way. This picture was traced in like 2009 or something like that. Guess what? I don't trace no more, and I'm way better than that now. It's fine. As long as you're not making financial gains off of somebody else's work, of course, don't do that. That's really bad, don't do that. As long as you're not doing that. It's a good way to get to learn, and it's a good way to visualize the ideas in your head. Of course, that's if you're not, the most experienced at drawing to start with. If you're already a pretty competent drawer, just go straight ahead. Get the visual design down. You know what they look like. So other people can know what they look like and give you feedback. Because sure, the ideas in your head, they're good while they're in your head, but you'll miss things. And you might subtly be changing the design of your character over the course of time. But if you get it down, and if other people can see it, they can give you that constructive criticism. Constructive criticism, don't let someone come up to you and tell you, "Bruh, this thing looks awful," and throw it in the bin. Don't let anyone do that. It's awful. Don't do that to anyone else either, please. Next, please. Now, this is of course for people who want to make comics, make manga. Just do it. Just make it. Hurdles. There are hurdles all through life, and the creative process is no different. Jump over the first one and make a manga. Because this was my first one. I drew it in, I think, again, maybe 2009, maybe 2010, or something like that. It was called Hawashika Katakai. According to Google Translate, that meant Hawashika High School, but I still don't know if that's true, because Google Translate back then wasn't very good. As you can see, the art style is not that great. Mind you, the comic was over 100 pages long, and that's 100 A3 pages long. I was kind of crazy back then, but I did it. And do you know what I did? I just put it up on Facebook, and no one cared. No one read it, at least I don't think they did. But I just kept doing it because it was fun. That's all we can ever do, isn't it? Just make something. It's not going to harm anyone. Next, please. Make changes. Make changes. I get that your ideas are precious. My ideas are precious. Everyone's ideas are precious. We call them our babies for a reason. But sometimes, in the words of the great Todd Howard, things just don't work. And sometimes they need to be changed. Sometimes you can take two aspects of a story and mix them together and get something new. Sometimes you can just be in the shower and an idea can, like that, shower thoughts, they're great, they're the best kind of thoughts. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make changes. Nothing will ever come out worse for changing something. Because guess what, you can just go back. If it doesn't work, just go back. You will only ever make something better by making changes. Even if it's a change you really don't want to do, just experiment and see if it will work. That's how I've come up with some of my best ideas. Thinking, oh, I could do this. No, that will never work.
I feel like
well,
he's
let's just
calling
have
me
a
out.
go. Oh my god, that's amazing. Not to blow my own trumpet. I don't have one. There might be a trumpet around here somewhere. I don't know. Next, please. We call the process of redrawing the same comic again and again a redux. So, what you can see here, this was the original draft of a story of mine called Kukumi no Kodomatashi. Again, according to Google Translate, that meant Children of the Revolution. I don't know if that's true. A few years later, when I met this guy, I redid it again. And then not long after, I did it again. I redrew the same comic 3 times. Do you know, I once redrew a comic so quickly after the previous one, it didn't have a chance to get released before I redrew. And you may be thinking, that's crazy, why would you do that? Well, because it comes out better every time. Make the changes. If it's not come out exactly how you want it before, do it again. Just do it again, it will always come out better. I know it takes loads of work. But as Alex here can attest, who has just had his first Redux released, do they not look better?
It does.
It does. Of course, you know, we like the original. The original was still cool. But the second one, it always comes out better. I love that. I'm going to come around and have a look at people's art in a minute. But are there any questions regarding this creative process to storytelling so far? Any questions at all? Anything? No? I'm not seeing any hands. I'll assume you... Oh, no. Gendo wants to know. The question was, say there's something you really like and you want to do something similar. How do you take them ideas without looking like you're ripping it off? First bit of advice would be, rip it off. How do you know what you want to draw? How do you know what you want to write if you can't write it yourself to start with? Rip it off to start with, and then see how your characters and how your world would change what's happened there. Say you really like the journey of Luke Skywalker, although that's the classic hero's journey. It's a very classic hero's journey. Let's just use that as an example. You want to do that. Obviously you don't want to write Luke Skywalker, unless you are writing fan fiction, go write fan fiction. Unless you are doing that, then look at it. What is the basic principles of a hero's journey? You've got someone with a boring life, they've gone off to an adventure, they normally find they've got some great power, they need to defeat a great evil. Those are generic tropes. Don't be afraid to use tropes. They work for a reason, that's why they keep getting reused. That's why they work. Did I hopefully answer that? Cool. Are there any other questions? Anything? No? Cool. Right. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, cool. Now, we'll get to this now. Can we start handing out the OC pages, please?
They're just sorting out the next bits. Don't know if you guys can hear me right now, but yeah, that's what they're doing. Talk's going really well so far.
Okay, cool. We're going to move on to the next stage of this. It's another interactive one. Now, unfortunately, I've only got 9 of these things. So, I'm going to pick 9 people.
Right.
And give them these. So, let's see. I'm going to switch his microphone off and run around the room quickly. And if you don't get one, sorry, but you can always draw OCs later. Do you want to do it? Oh, you want to do it? Yeah. Ready.
So, as Connor is running around, what we have up here is these were original characters designed by people within our Discord group. And as part of like a little bit of a celebration and interaction, we basically take those images and like render them professionally. So the whole CrownRoot kind of ethos is about us individually trying to create the most professional thing that we can, whilst kind of elevating people alongside us. Can we go to the next slide? So we're getting into all different types of storytelling. So we're currently playing around with holographic technology at the moment. So I've got a couple of holograms from the most, they're the holograms that I prefer. Next slide, please. We've got trading cards, which we spent the last 8 years developing. They're downstairs. You'll be able to see those. So now they're kind of verging in on the NFTs. They go across all of our story worlds and all the different characters are on there. We have a game on the Nintendo Switch, which is in production, so I'm making that myself using C#. That's definitely the proudest moment for me, was when Nintendo said, yeah, okay, you can become a developer. So, next slide. And Trinity Witches, which is Connor's story. Connor has now finished the first arc, making it the first arc told in CrownRoot in general. So that's 11 comics, 22 pages each. It's like over 100 pages of storytelling. So we're very, very proud of that. Next slide, please. Now, the only reason I even took them, came halfway through in this talk, is to give this little bit on mental health. Usually Connor would do this all himself, but effectively in the mix of the last couple of years, for CrownRoot as an organisation, it's probably been the best couple of years. But like everybody else on individual and personal levels, there's been some tragedies. And there were a couple with people who used to be in CrownRoot who I know were artists and storytellers, and so it's probably the only time I'm going to give this part of the talk, but I just felt as the first event since we've all been in lockdown, this is kind of like a lot of important stuff in here. So this information here, take it with a pinch of salt, but hopefully it will help some people, and some of it is reiteration. So the first thing is that as a creative, especially if you actually have the dream to want to make whole, complete stories, the part that Connor was talking about getting your ideas down on paper, is actually necessary for your mental health. So the way that the brain works is you're constantly giving yourself a feedback of either positive reinforcement or negative reinforcement. And so if you spend a lot of time creating an idea, and then the next time somebody asks you, oh, how's that going? And you can't recall it, maybe you were nervous, maybe there was something that just happened to you. But you not being able to recall it, in your mind, you're going to deem that as a failure. And so if that ends up happening repeatedly, you're going to reinforce yourself that when people talk to you about your story, that somehow just it being brought up in conversation is a failure in and of itself. Where it's not. It's just that maybe the reason why you want to communicate through this form of storytelling is because you're better expressed that way. And so that's why it is important, so that one, you can communicate it to other people, but that also happens to yourself. So let's say you have a really, really good day and you're excited and you create all of these fantastical stories inside of your head. If 2 days later you can't recall all of the nuances, your brain's going to say to yourself, somehow there was a failure in the mix of that. And then again, you're going to stop programming yourself that at the point when you're in a good mood and you want to create the ideas, there'll be a part of your brain that's saying, oh, but this is going to lead to failure at some point. Hard work will always outweigh talent. It's just how it is. All of the people that you really like aren't there because they were born with a special gift. They're there because they're the ones who did all of the extra work afterwards. So that's to say, the next thing in terms of understanding your mental health, when it comes to being a creator, is understanding what the first hurdle actually means. So when you create your first thing, whether it's a first comic, or a first script, or a first piece of artwork, the reason why you have to get that out is once you do it, it stays in that pocket of time. And what I mean by this is where Connor mentioned beforehand, somebody had an idea in their head for 8 years. If they put that story down on paper, 8 years later, they'd be looking at a story which is 8 years old. So if they feel like they've got better or they've developed it, it rests in that period of time. If you don't actually create your first thing, you never have that opportunity to have something to springboard from to get better at. Now, if you're somebody like Connor, who actually enjoyed the process, now you're winning. But that isn't going to be everybody. But if you can just enjoy the process of what you're doing, that's 110% where you want to be. That's not necessarily, I'm not like that with all of my creative endeavors. Some things I like creating, some things I like the outcome. Either which way, that first hurdle is going to allow a chronological separation and allow you to actually see your improvements. No matter how bad you are, or how bad you think you are, by putting something down and allowing yourself to see it as it goes over time, just like when you get a child and you measure themselves. A 5-year-old can't comprehend this idea that I'm growing and I'm getting bigger. They just see I'm smaller than everybody else. That's gonna how you're gonna feel if you're watching Shonens, Marvels, DCs, Disneys. So that's the next thing that I want to say. Your heroes, your idols are actually teams of like 50, 60, 70 people. And so inside of that, what you want to do, and this is the last point I'm going to say, I'm going to have to do something with this because it's all important. But you'll be looking at a franchise, a story, Naruto or One Piece, any of those things, and it may inspire you to say, I want to make something like this. The reality is even for someone like Akira who made Dragon Ball Z, he has assistants, he has colorists, he has an editor, and in CrownRoot we try and create an aspect of that, so we have different people editing different people's stuff. But the main thing that you really want to do is try and figure out, and this is the mental exercise that I do with this. If I gave you £1 billion, which part of this process would you still want to do for the rest of your life? When asked that question, some people realize, I actually just want to design the clothes for the characters. I'm building this whole world just so that I can then get to the point where I get to design the characters. Some people just want to develop the environmental story, so they don't want to do the characters, they want to talk about the histories and the chronologies and how all the families get together, they just want to world it. So again, the reason why this is all important for your mental health is, let's say that you do your first story, your first comic, and you get it out there. It's going to be hard work either way. Now by the time you start moving on to second and third ones, if you realise, you know what, I just really like designing the clothes, don't allow the stress of, say, colouring or the stress of scripting to give you a mental illness, because it will do, because these things are highly nuanced and only people who actually really love it, want to get involved in it. So just allow yourself that flex, and like I was saying, like just as a mental exercise, go back, and for those of you who are creative, just try and see how niche you can get it. So if you're like, oh, if I had £1 billion, I would be the artist. Okay, so if I gave you £1 trillion and you had to pick one aspect of it, would you want to do the lines? Would you want to do the colouring? Which aspect of it? And just by yourself, figure out which part of it you're most passionate with. And then as the last point, is find some kind of a community. Find some people that you can talk to about your idea who don't feel like they're glazing over when they're talking to you. Now, this is the perfect environment. This is where CrownRoot's found most of their people. That's literally what anime cons are about. So I'm sure there's a level where you will kind of understand that here now. But also, don't be afraid. If you've got a friend who's not into anime, and sometimes they talk about something and it kind of bores you a little bit, just be real with it and kind of listen to it, and then kind of talk about your thing afterwards, and try and develop with the people that you interact with a way of offloading. Because again, it's this thing about, if the thing that you love, i.e. The story, is constantly pushing you into a state of isolation, then you're going to associate your story with being isolated, and these can then potentially develop into possible mental illnesses. So again, everything I've said here, ultimately take it with a pinch of salt, and it's just to kind of put out there that it is of importance for both you as individuals and for the people who are around you. Anybody who would like to get involved in CrownRoot, we're downstairs. We've got a website up, you can come and look at everything that is in there. And you know, with everything that's happened, it's kind of made me think about exactly what it is that CrownRoot is. On one hand, we're trying to be as professional as possible, and on the other hand, what it is it's a critical space where your mental health will always be priority. So what I mean by that is, we will tell you the honest feedback about your stories. We're not here to pander, but no matter how good you are, you'll never be able to be rude to somebody. You'll never be able to kind of flaunt your arrogance around. That's just not what we're about. So please have a good rest of the con. I'm going to hand it back because Connor has a couple more happy slides left, which is how we like to end it off. So if we can go to the next one. Yeah, thank you for listening to me. Oh, that is the end. Right, I'll hand it back to Connor.
Yes, thank you, Vin. Hopefully people found that helpful. Are there any other questions to end off? Or have I missed anyone's art that they want to show off to me? Any questions at all? Can be... Ooh. I like that. I like your game. It's very spiky. That's really nice. You've got really nice lines going. I like that. Really nice. It's the thing I say with a lot of people down there. Make things bigger. I feel a lot of people are small. You're afraid too much space is wrong. They can make it more space to on there. I think I'm being waved to come off, so I'm going to come and talk to you, and I'm going to give this off, and I'm going to sign off. I've been Connor from CrownRoot, that's Vin from CrownRoot. We're down by the sign-in table. Come find us if you want to talk to us anymore. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back again. Hope you guys enjoyed that talk. I definitely enjoyed recording the whole thing. And really good stuff. They really know how to their stuff when it comes to making comics and anime. Please be sure to follow, join the CrownRoot Discord server in the description below, and please be sure to check out the website. We are looking for more talented artists and creators like myself to join them and expand on it. Add more comic stories to the CrownRoot family, if you want to call it that. But anyway, now let's get on to the main discussion now. I'm going to be showing you guys my proudest achievement throughout the entire Comic-Con. And that is the release of my brand new Chaos Man Chapter 1. Yep, here she is, guys. The Redux of Chaos Man is now out. This is the old version of my comic, the prototype comic, and this is the new one. Look at that, it is so cool. Not saying this thing on Ashley's comic. Ashley did a great job making this one. He definitely got most of the things I imagined right. This comic, however, is drawn by a different artist. His name is James. He also has a channel on Twitch, and he's also on Discord. I'll be sure to provide links to his Twitch in the description below, so you can go check him out. Check out the many art he's done. Really look forward to when he starts working on the next chapter. But yeah, I am so happy that the Chaos Man Redux is finally done. And this is a big moment for me, because this is the big first step I have taken in making my dream of turning Chaos Man, something I created from my childhood, into a real, proper anime for people to enjoy. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. It looks amazing. I'll give you guys another example. Okay, so this is what the first page 1 of the prototype comic looks like. Let me give you a little look. This is page 1 of the prototype comic. Looks really cool. And this is what page 1 of the true chapter 1 comic looks like. Ta-da! Look at that. That is sick. It is awesome. It's so amazing that the colors and the background, all of it, it's just so cool. I'm not going to show you too much of it because I want you guys to actually read the comic for yourselves once it's uploaded on the CrownRoot website. But I am so happy when I got this comic. When Vin showed it to me and I held this in my hands, I was over the moon. Like, I wanted to scream, but I couldn't because I didn't want to disturb anyone. But I was screaming on the inside with just, I'm so happy. Hey, my dream is officially beginning. Now that this is done, and we're finally going to be working on chapter 2. Because as horrible as COVID was in 2020, there was one good thing about it. It gave me all the spare time I needed to write out the full story of Chaos Man. And I've done it. I've written all 12 arcs of Chaos Man and 3 spin-offs. That's how big my Chaos Man story is. I could try and mathematically count how many chapters I've written as a whole, but I think we'd be here all day if I did just that. All in all, I'm really excited to start getting to work on chapter 2. Hopefully it'll be released soon, and it won't take too long as this one did. It's because of COVID that things have been slowing down a lot with Chaos Man's progress, but now that things have died down a bit, things are starting to pick back up again. So that is all that I have to say for this video. Please go check out Chaos Man, and I'll leave the link to the CrownRoot website in the description below where you can read it for yourself. I don't know if it'll be up on the website yet as of recording this video, because from what I've heard the website's going through some maintenance right now. But hopefully when it's finished and the comic is uploaded, you'll be able to read it then. I would love to hear your thoughts on this comic in the comments of this video below. And with that, guys, I am officially back to making videos again on this channel. I took a couple months off to rest and recuperate, but now I am fully rested and ready to rumble. I am going to be recording gaming videos again very soon. My next Let's Play is going to be Jump Force. I thought long and hard about it. I played some of the game in my spare time just to get a feel for it, and I've decided, screw it, let's make a Let's Play of it. So I'm definitely looking forward to recording again, and I'm so excited because of this. I still can't believe I actually have this in my hand. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I hope you saw part 1 before part 2. Really happy with how everything went down. Had a great time at the Bristol Con, and I'm definitely looking forward to the next one I'll be going to in October. And I will be vlogging that one as well. Oh, can't wait to see what opportunities and stuff I'll be seeing at that con. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more videos. And again, please be sure to check out CrownRoot in the description below. Go join the CrownRoot Discord server if you're a creator and you want to make comics or anime or games or anything. Please go and join. We would like to help you achieve that. And I shall see you all next time. Peace.